For over 1,000 years, the British royal family has been an institution built on tradition, duty, and a sense of continuity that feels almost sacred. It's weathered wars, scandals, and the relentless march of time, all while sticking to one core principle: the crown is a constant, a fixed point in a dizzyingly changing world. But what if the biggest change in its long, storied history wasn't something that already happened, but something that's just around the corner? What if the carefully built walls of protocol were about to be redesigned, not because of a crisis, but on purpose? Alright, let's jump forward in time. The year is late 2026. A few moments ago, a series of perfectly coordinated announcements from Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and even a statement from Montecito, California, sent shockwaves across the globe. The old playbook for the House of Windsor. It's just been rewritten. But this isn't a story of crisis or family drama. It's about a deliberate, tectonic restructuring that changes everything we thought we knew about the monarchy's future. Now, it's essential to state this up front. The announcement we're about to break down is a projection. It's a speculative look at where today's trends could realistically take the House of Windsor. It's a what-if scenario, but one that's grounded in the very real shifts we were already seeing. To really get the weight of this imagined moment, in 2026, we have to rewind the clock to a pivotal year, 2025, a time when the seeds of this incredible transformation were being planted, often right in front of us. This is the story of then, and a possible now. The year 2025 was a period of quiet, steady consolidation for the monarchy. Under the firm hand of King Charles III, the institution was finding its new groove. After the whirlwind of the Elizabethan succession, 2025 was all about reinforcing the foundations of duty and service. The king, having navigated his own health scares, was projecting an image of resilience and thoughtful leadership. His vision for a modern, more focused monarchy, often called slimmed down, was becoming clearer. But it was one still deeply tied to the nation's history. This was crystal clear in the plans. Announced for the 80th anniversary of VJ Day in August of that year, it was a moment dripping with history. Marking the final end of World War II, Buckingham Palace announced that King Charles would deliver a personal, pre-recorded audio message to the nation. This was planned to coincide with the major service of remembrance at the National Memorial Arboretum, which the King and Queen Camilla were scheduled to attend with veterans and political leaders. The event was choreographed to show the monarchy in its most traditional, unifying role. The King and Queen would lay wreaths, a 2-minute silence would be observed, and the ceremony was expected to include flypasts by the Red Arrows and the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. Other senior royals were also given key roles. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh were set to attend a service in Scotland, while the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester had engagements in Norwich and Suffolk. It was a classic display of the family firm at work, a coordinated effort to cover the nation in remembrance. The commemorations were also set to wrap up with a reception for veterans at Windsor Castle later in the autumn. Yet, even in this picture of dutiful unity, there were signs of a subtle but significant evolution. Notably, the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, were not expected to participate in the main VJ Day commemorations, while many observers attributed this to their desire to spend the school holidays with their children. Royal watchers saw it as something more. It wasn't a failure to perform a duty, but a redefinition of it. It pointed to an emerging strategy where the future monarch was being encouraged to carve out his own lane, separate from the ceremonial duties led by the king. William and Catherine were increasingly the face of the monarchy's future. Their focus was less on retrospective ceremonies and more on forward-facing initiatives. Prince William's Earthshot Prize was a perfect example, a hugely ambitious project tackling global environmental challenges, a cause his father had championed for decades. William was carrying the torch, but with his own unique branding and global reach. Similarly, Princess Catherine's work on early childhood development was a long-term, deeply researched social initiative. She had launched the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood in 2021, aiming to spark a generational shift in understanding the first 5 years of life. Together, the Waleses were building a platform based on substantive, legacy-driven projects. Their absence from the VJ Day events in 2025 wasn't just a family holiday. It hinted at a strategic division of labor. King Charles and his generation would anchor the monarchy in tradition, while William and Catherine would build its future relevance. In effect, the monarchy was running on two parallel tracks, one looking back with reverence, the other striding confidently into the future. And you can't forget the so-called bet. Princess Anne, often praised as the hardest-working royal, continued her relentless schedule, a rock of stability and no-nonsense duty. Ahead of her 75th birthday in August 2025, she was lauded for her role in providing royal soft power, demonstrating a deep commitment to her causes. Prince Edward and his wife Sophie, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, had also stepped up in a major way, becoming reliable pillars holding up the entire structure. They ensured the hundreds of charities and military groups that rely on royal patronage felt supported, even as the number of working royals had shrunk. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, another branch of the family was on its own, very different path. In August 2025, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, made their own major announcement. After lots of speculation, they confirmed their partnership with Netflix had been extended. This wasn't just a renewal of their 2020 deal, it was a recalibration. It was reported as a multi-year first-look deal, giving Netflix the first right of refusal on their projects but allowing Arkewell Productions to shop content elsewhere. If Netflix passed, this move reflected the Sussexes' evolving strategy. Their statement at the time spoke of creating thoughtful content across genres that resonates globally. The slate of projects reportedly in the works gave a clear signal of their new direction. It included a second season of Meghan's lifestyle and cooking show, with some sources referring to it as With Love, Meghan, in a holiday special planned for December. This, paired with the growth of Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever, showed a sharp focus on building a commercially successful media empire, but their ambitions went further. Two other projects were highlighted: a documentary short titled Masaka Kids, A Rhythm Within, about an orphanage in Uganda, and a feature film adaptation of the best-selling romance novel, Meet Me at the Lake. Confirming the film was a big deal, as it marked their first major step into scripted feature films, a move that could establish them as serious Hollywood players. By mid-2025, the royal family seemed to exist in three distinct orbits. At the center was King Charles, the traditional anchor, supported by his queen and a dedicated team upholding the crown's duties. Then you had the Prince and Princess of Wales, the designated future, operating with more freedom to build a modern platform. And finally, the Sussexes in California, forging an independent path. As global media producers, their link to the institution now almost entirely personal, not professional. The three spheres rarely overlapped. It was a state of peaceful, if distant, coexistence. But what no one saw was that these paths weren't parallel. They were all heading toward a single, dramatic intersection in the not-so-distant future. To a casual observer, the royal family of 2025 might have looked fractured. The story was all about division. Two brothers on different continents, a slimmed-down monarchy stretched thin, and a new king trying to balance history with modernity. But if you look at it that way, you miss the subtle strategy flowing just beneath the surface. What if the separation wasn't a weakness, but a necessary step toward a stronger, more flexible model? What if the parallel tracks were actually part of a much bigger, unspoken plan? Let's look at the 2025 evidence again. The decision for the Waleses to focus on their own initiatives while the king-led national ceremonies can be seen in a new light. It wasn't just about giving the heir some space. It was about stress-testing a new model for the monarchy, one that could operate with multiple distinct centers of power. For centuries, the monarchy was a pyramid. The sovereign was at the top, and everything flowed down from there. By 2025, we were seeing the beginnings of something different, more like a modern corporation with powerful, specialized divisions. King Charles was the chairman of the board, the keeper of the institution's heritage and its constitutional soul. He was the guarantor of continuity. Prince William, in this analogy, was being set up as the chief innovation officer. His job was to look ahead, to find where the monarchy could make the biggest impact in the future: climate change, social inequality, mental health. He was building the future-facing brand of the royal family. This division of labor was a quiet admission that no single person could be everything to everyone in the 21st century. The world is just too complex. For the institution to thrive, it needed to specialize. Charles would handle the statecraft and ceremony. William would drive innovation and global outreach, and the workhorses, and Edward and Sophie will, before they could ever be seen as potential strategic partners, instead of just estranged relatives. So, the landscape of 2025 wasn't about simple fragmentation. It was one of specialization and strategic distancing. Each key part of the family was building its own power base and expertise. The king was reinforcing tradition. The Prince of Wales was building the future. The supporting royals were maintaining the present, and the Sussexes were building an independent, international media platform. The stage was set. The individual pieces were being strengthened in isolation. All that was needed was a reason to bring them all together, not into the old pyramid, but into a new, networked model for a global monarchy. The question was, what would that look like? And so, we come back to our speculative timeline. Late in the year 2026, the groundwork laid over the past few years has all led to this moment. Imagine this. The announcement isn't a single stuffy press release. It's a masterclass in modern PR, a cascade of information released at the same time from multiple royal households, all designed to paint a picture of unity, strategy, and bold leadership. It is, basically, the public launch of a new royal charter for the 21st century. It starts with a broadcast from King Charles, but it's not a formal address from a desk at Buckingham Palace. It's a slickly produced video, filmed in a warmer setting at Windsor Castle. He speaks not just as a king, but as a father and grandfather. He talks about the monarchy's enduring purpose to serve and unite. But then, he pivots. He talks about the need for the institution to evolve, to become more dynamic and collaborative. In our hypothetical scenario, he announces the launch of the Sovereign's Global Britain Initiative. This initiative, he explains, is a new framework designed to harness the unique strengths of the entire royal family to support British interests and global well-being. It's a formal recognition that in a world of interconnected challenges like climate change and economic instability, the monarchy must also be a networked institution. After the king's address, the details start rolling out. The official royal family website is relaunched as a dynamic, interactive hub. And then come the specifics, each one a major break from protocol. First, the roles of senior working royals are formally redefined. In our projection, Princess Anne is appointed a special ambassador for Commonwealth trade and industry, giving a sharp new economic purpose to her famous work ethic. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh are named the new heads of the royal community and voluntary sector, a new body to modernize the monarchy's relationship with its thousands of charities. The biggest news comes from Kensington Palace. The Prince and Princess of Wales declare a major evolution of their roles. Prince William is officially named the head of all future-facing initiatives of the Crown. In this speculative scenario, his Earthshot Prize is formally integrated with UK government policy, giving him a real seat at the policy-making table. Princess Catherine's Centre for Early Childhood also gets a huge boost, partnering with the NHS and the Department for Education to roll out a national curriculum on early years development. In essence, the Waleses are cemented as the leaders of the monarchy's social and environmental policy wing. But the real bombshell, the part that would have everyone talking, is the one that finally addresses the Sussex question. In a move of incredible strategic thinking, the newly redesigned Royal Family website has a new tab at the top. It simply reads, Global Initiatives. Under this tab, two main projects are listed. The first is Prince William's Earthshot Prize. The second is a link to the official ArchiWall website. At the exact same time, a statement comes from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in California. It's not personal or emotional, but professional. And corporate confirms that ArchiWall Productions has accepted an invitation to be formally recognized as an independent creative partner of the Sovereign's Global Britain Initiative. The wording is meticulous. It clarifies this is not a return to being working royals. They will get no public money and won't use their HRH titles in their work. Instead, ArchiWall will be recognized for its contribution to Britain's soft power through its work in the global media space. In our speculative scenario, it's a map. It doesn't erase the past, but it completely reframes the future. It allows the king to formally acknowledge the global platform his younger son has built, but on the institution's terms. It brings the Sussexes back into the family's orbit, but not into the firm. It turns their independent success from a point of conflict into a strategic asset. It solves the problem that had plagued the monarchy for years by creating a new category, an independent, non-working global partner. The final piece of this hypothetical announcement is a new set of family portraits, not the traditional balcony shot. The first shows the king with his core working royals at Buckingham Palace. The second shows the Prince and Princess of Wales with their team, surrounded by innovators. And the third is a simple, elegant graphic showing the logos of the Sovereign's Global Britain Initiative, Earthshot, and ArchiWall, all linked by a subtle connecting line. The message is unmistakable. This is one network, a global enterprise, with different divisions, different leaders, and a single, overarching brand, the Crown. This projected announcement of late 2026 is revolutionary. It moves the monarchy beyond the simple working or non-working labels. It creates a new, flexible framework that preserves the traditional core, while adding dynamic new wings that can engage with the world in ways the old model never could. When we look back from our imagined future in late 2026, the quiet, disconnected year of 2025 suddenly snaps into focus. What looked like a family drifting apart was actually a crucial period of preparation. The separation of duties between the king and his heir, the tireless work of the supporting royals, and the brand building of the Sussexes weren't signs of division. They were the necessary steps to build a new, more resilient monarchy. This hypothetical Sovereign's Global Britain Initiative is a paradigm shift from a family-run firm to a global, networked brand. In this projected future, King Charles becomes the strategic chairman, empowering his successors to innovate. William and Catherine are the leaders of a modern, impact-driven agenda. And in the most audacious move, the framework creates a formal, respectful place for Harry and Meghan, transforming them from royal exiles into valuable global partners. It's a model that swaps internal conflict for external collaboration. This transformation from the seemingly fractured family of 2025 to the powerful, networked monarchy of this projected 2026 is a compelling blueprint for how an ancient institution can survive. It shows a capacity for radical adaptation. The story of then and now isn't one of a simple family hug. It's a story of strategic realignment. It's a lesson in how an ancient institution, facing modern pressures, can choose not just to endure, but to evolve into something stronger and more formidable than ever before. This is, of course, a speculative analysis, a projection of how today's currents could shape tomorrow's royal world. But what do you think? Is this vision of a networked, global monarchy plausible, or is it pure fantasy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one, and if you want to stay up to date,